annoyed, exasperated, sexually unwell. Shall I go on? Thank you. Living there you gone?
No, it's for Famke Janssen. Famke Janssen.
Oh. In the next 3 seconds.
Okay, yeah, this is at 3, because it said like 3:10. Yeah.
This time, I still want to help. The pleasure will be all I have.
Of course, you should be familiar with her resume, which is pretty impressive. You saw Star Trek: The Next Generation, we know her from Taken, we know her from Goldeneye, we've seen her in The Blacklist, and of course, I think we all know and love her as Jean Grey from the X-Men movies. Guys, I want you to make a lot of noise in the way Orlando only can! Give it up for Famke! Thank you for joining us. How's your con been so far? How's Orlando been treated?
Wonderful. I just had a dance party back there just to, shake it off. Normally on Saturday morning I did a dance class in New York, but I couldn't.
What?
I have all this access.
So what kind of music do you play? What's your go-to music for your dance party?
Dance tends to be a little bit more hip-hop driven, pop in there, whatever, just sometimes old school 70s stuff, dance to whatever.
Well, for you, when you're getting into a character, are you someone that kind of creates a playlist for that character or sort of plays music to kind of get in the headspace of someone you're playing?
It really depends on the character. I remember that when we were shooting X-Men: The Last Stand, and I had to do a very difficult scene as the Phoenix in the lab with Hugh Jackman's character Wolverine there. I kept playing Trouble by Cat Stevens because that song just kills me. It's so beautiful and tragic and all of it at the same time. So that one helped me through that one. It really depends. On the scene, on the character, on all of it.
Yeah, although there is something about Cat Stevens that is beautiful, but also just heartbreaking when you're listening to his music,
Yes, very soulful.
Well, we saw this clip from Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I believe that was, 91, 92, when that episode was filmed.
Who knew?
Who knew? Yeah, well, okay, so 8 years later, when you show up and you are now cast in the first X-Men movie, was there any kind of awareness back and forth between you and Patrick Stewart of like, oh yeah, we worked together in that show a few years previous? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it was an important episode, I guess, in the Star Trek Next Generation, and Patrick had been part of it for so long. So yeah, it was really great to see him there and work with him again, and especially because Professor X and Jean Grey have such a big history, and there's an important relationship in the comics that having already had a prior relationship of sorts with Patrick before shooting really helped.
Yeah, as an actor, when you're kind of coming onto a new project like that, is there a level of comfort when you see someone that you've kind of already worked with before? Because just insofar as like sometimes a new job, any new job, I think we can all relate, feels like the first day of school where you're like, oh, at least I know that person. Yeah.
You don't know anybody, you're unsure of who you're playing and how you're going to do it, and the whole crew is new and the actors. So having a familiar face anywhere is fantastic. And like I said, just because there's so much history between these two characters already, it really helped that we knew each other from before.
Yeah. Like when you're a younger actor, there's a lot of imagined doubt that comes along with the role. Like, the sense of, do I belong here? Did you go through that a lot in your earlier roles as far as like, okay,
I was never young. I started really late, so that helped. I was already old by the time I started, so that was good. And then I guess because I grew up in the Netherlands, I'm Dutch, and we don't have the same admiration for movie stars and celebrities and, you know, football players or whatever, athletes, in the way that Americans do. So I was never quite as intimidated as I think some people, I've seen some people get when they work with somebody they've really admired for a long time. We're so much more down to earth. I'm like, oh, whatever, that's Robert De Niro. Okay, nice to meet you. You know, like that kind of thing. It's just different. So it helped me get through some of the people I've, you know, on movies and projects I've worked.
Yeah, no, that's good, because then you could just kind of show up and do the job without thinking about
without
all of
having
this.
all the other stuff that you have to deal with, like being intimidated and scared. And I mean, it's a scary enough job as it is.
Mm-hmm. Most certainly. Well, we have the microphones right here and right here, guys. If you have a question, go ahead and line up. And just do me a favor, just to be courteous to the people behind you. If you're in line at the mic, great, but anyone behind that person, just kneel down if you are able, so we're not blocking the people behind you, you know, so they can all see. And we'll start with a question over here. Hi there.
Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm pretty excited. I'm a huge fan of you, and my question is, you played Jean Grey and Phoenix, and I want to know your experience from going from Jean Grey to the Phoenix, since they're two completely different characters. And then there's this the Phoenix at the end of the days. The last one, yeah. There's this really cool scene of you, and then that character looks like a really cool mix between the two. So I just wanted to see hear about your transition from one character to the other.
Yeah, did you kind of view it as two different characters? Because there was always that fire burning within Jean, that conflict. So how did you approach that?
So the way that I wanted to, and when I spoke to the writers and the director about it before we started filming, is that I wanted to make sure that it was almost a schizophrenic moment happening in Jean Grey, that the Phoenix was trying to come out of her and took over at certain times, and then at other times you could see Jean Grey coming back, and then the Phoenix would win, so that we had a sort of split personality, dual personality thing happening, and that's really what I tried to work on, because I figured it was the more interesting way to go in the scenes, and that's ultimately what we ended up doing with it, because it just, I mean, it's part of her. She's really always been, you know, it's always been in her. I mean, at the beginning of the comic books, Jean Grey is, when she's very young, I guess she witnesses a car accident or something, and she goes to the school, and Professor X blocks her powers for a really long time until she's ready to use them, because she's so incredibly powerful. So I always felt that that sort of Phoenix type was in there, and that if it was used in the wrong way, it could kill, and that's what ultimately, of course, ended up happening. So it was something that had to be controlled. And as she was old, started, you know, maturing, she became better at that. But that's, you know, with Phoenix coming up, that really changed, obviously.
Well, then when you returned in the Wolverine, did you approach that as sort of a yet another iteration of Jean Grey, because it was a vision, a dream sequence? It wasn't exactly her, it was his recollection of her.
Exactly, so then we went for a much more dreamlike character. That it wasn't really specifically Jean Grey or the Phoenix, but it was his, you know, him struggling with the past and what had happened and his guilt and all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you saw, you know, aspects of both those characters in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, Famke. So as mentioned before, you also had a role in GoldenEye as, get ready for the giggling, Xenia on a top.
Yes, cheekily named, yes.
Okay. But my question to you is, it's a two-part question. How hard would you say it was for you to go from Bond villainess to X-Men character and such? So was that hard for you to transition between those two roles?
Well, I guess part of our job as actors is to embody different people, different characters, and thankfully there were years in between. Xenia Onatopp was a very big hard for me, and I mean, especially at the time when it came, I hadn't done that much yet, and it's a very different character than I am. She's Russian, and you know, she's a lethal assassin. She kills men between her thighs, and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So
There's the giggling.
yeah. So it just, you know, it took a lot of courage for me to play that. I'm very shy by nature, so to do that and to do it, we were filming in England, and you know, there were scenes where I was dressed with not too much clothing on, and I said, "Can I have a closed set?" And so I looked down at some point, and our set was built up somewhere at some point, and there were curtains, and when I looked, they were split open, but because we were on a higher level, I figured that really didn't matter because nobody could see me, and I looked down and I see the entire crew was staring at me. So it just took a certain sense of, I'm just gonna let go, I'm gonna go for it, and whatever happens, happens kind of thing, and that really helped me for the rest of my career in developing all the characters, I guess. But they're very different, so it was a different approach for each.
Okay, the other part of my question was, do you still do your sitting on a top voice? Because I'd love to hear that again.
I'm gonna give her a pass on that because we're just up here to chat. Yeah. But what kind of awareness did you have, or familiarity with sort of the Bond franchise and the Bond villains, Bond villainesses coming into this role? Were you a fan? Was it something that was kind of circulating in your family, etc.?
My dad was the biggest Bond fan, so
Yeah.
I watched the Bond movies with him. So I knew them very, very, very well. And of course, he saw how women had been portrayed, mostly objectified for all those years. And so I felt somewhat of a responsibility when it was my turn to come in to hopefully change that idea of, you know, a Bond girl or woman, you know, as a villainess, so that helped a little bit. But yeah, no, with it, I came, you know, not only baggage, but also just knowing those movies so well and having seen them. Not in terms of the X-Men comics, I knew nothing about that. That was a complete opposite experience. I had to go and research and go to the comic book stores and start talking to people, and I just didn't know. It's not what I grew up with.
Well, were you able to have a conversation with your father as being cast in the Bond films? Like,
No, at that point, he was already passed away, so that didn't work anymore. But
have you ever thought about what he would have said? Like, was he the type of person to be like, well, it's not Sean Connery, or?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting with you mentioned the research that you did for the X-Men films. You guys were really the first out of the gate in sort of this new age of superheroes. You know, there had been some quiet time, and nobody really knew what this thing was going to become, this genre, you know. It's interesting that you did put the work into research because it could have easily been that type of role that, oh, this is kid stuff, just show up and you know, just read the lines or whatever. Did you kind of feel a sense of responsibility in taking on that role?
Once I started doing my research on the X-Men comics, how long they've been around, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, all of the history that came with it, and the enormous fan base that it had developed over all those decades, yes, I really felt the responsibility of making sure that I would do Jean Grey justice. But just to go back to that, you know, idea of our first X-Men, Bryan Singer had come from the world of independence, and Bryan Singer had our director for the first X-Men, he had a very specific idea of how he wanted to direct those films and how he wanted us to act in it. He said traditionally, you know, we'd all seen the comic book being super glossy and, you know, the costumes or everything was a hyper reality.
Campy, yeah.
Very campy. He wanted to make sure that we were just, really go back to the comics in the way that they were written in dark rooms with, you know, people reading them at home, people who felt like outsiders, who'd been ostracized by society for their differences. And so that's what he kept instilling in us, is that we were very normal people with real problems. We happened to be different, and we happened to have mutations. But he wanted to make that very clear to us, and that's how I think, and that's from that moment on, you've kind of seen a difference in comic book adaptations on film. They are more realistic now. I think a lot more people can identify with the characters because they are more like us.
Yeah, no, it certainly set the standard. It just the portrayals. not only looking like the characters in live action that you kind of imagine in your head, but being true to the characters. I think that was something you guys really achieved. Hi.
Hi, my question is going to be, out of your career modeling and being an actress, what would be the most crazy or funniest event or situation regarding you and another fan?
A fan interaction?
Yes. That you can-
I don't know. There's been many. They're very. You never know. There's never a dull moment. I mean, and I also never know what they're going to recognize me from. If it's X-Men or an independent movie I've done, or Rounders, or
Hemlock Grove, or
Hemlock Grove, or whatever. It's so random. And then a lot of people don't put it together, so they don't realize that Xenia Onatopp was also Jean Grey, was also, the person in Hemlock Grove, or whatever. It's or Lenore from Taken. So it's really fun to see which, where they're going to go with it. But thankfully, I haven't been attacked in any there.
Well,
So don't get any ideas.
when you're doing a massive franchise like the Bond movies, obviously that's such a big world. Did that prepare you, sort of the reaction from fans? Did that prepare you for the role of how to deal with the sort of the Jean Grey exposure? Because when you're part of that big franchise, does it help you figure out how to deal with this next big franchise?
When I did GoldenEye and I became part of that Bond machine, I had no idea until, basically I think in our first week of filming, they already had 200 people from the British press, going through all our sets and wardrobe and talking to us and having press conferences. And I thought, I don't even know who I'm playing yet. How am I supposed to talk to these people about this? But you realize the machinery behind it. It's a humongous exposure that comes with a movie like that. And there had been a hiatus of, I think, 7, 8, 9 years or something between Bond films. And Pierce was the first new Bond after that. And so with it came just, there was so much stuff to do and press that I think since then nothing has ever compared to that. Kind of catapulted me into that world of like, okay, I guess I just have to be ready and figure out my way of how to do that and deal with the press. Sometimes they're tough, and especially the British press are known to be very, very nosy and picky and difficult at times. So I learned my lesson the hard way.
Yeah. You don't really have any coach as far as how to deal with that experience, like as far as this is what it's going to be like and it's total insanity, right?
No, you get catapulted into that and you sort of have to stay afloat.
Well then, okay, in turn, when you kind of enter into the X-Men world with some of the other actors who were first coming into this, did you give them any tips as far as like, this is going to be insane?
No, no, I also work with some, people like Sir, let me just call him Sir.
Right.
Patrick Stewart,
The
Sir,
Sirs,
Ian
yeah.
McKellen, the Sirs, who have experienced everything already in their lives, so no, I was sort of going, wow, I'm lucky to be here. It's how I feel every single day of my life. I'm just grateful I'm here and I can, participate in this amazing business and play these characters, so I would never presume I have anything to tell anybody how to act or be.
Sure, but I think you do. Hi.
Hi, I have 2 questions. When I heard Blacklist Redemption was canceled, I was really bummed about that. So do you have anything planned coming that I can anticipate?
Yeah, I'm doing a couple of independent films. I'm doing one named Asher with Ron Perlman and Jacqueline Bisset and Richard Dreyfuss, and then I'm doing a film with Cuba Gooding Jr. is directing called Louisiana Caviar. And I have a couple of independent films coming out, one with Sharon Stone, one with Bruce Willis, and another one, I always forget the title. I'm looking for another show, hopefully a cable show of sorts, or, I can do all these wonderful things now on Amazon and Hulu, whatever. I worked with Netflix, obviously, before. So we'll see what comes next, but in the meanwhile, I'm just doing small independent films.
Okay, and what's your favorite genre? Because I would like to see another fantasy film, and I have not seen that since Hansel and Gretel.
Fantasy film, yeah, that would be great. If anything, shows up, let me know. I'll be there.
that?
Are you casting for something right now?
No.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned, it's funny because when you look at your resume, there's so many films and there's also so much TV. And this is a really great time for television right now. Do you kind of find yourself wanting, you said you're looking for another show, do you find yourself kind of gravitating towards that TV landscape?
It's interesting because I still, comparatively speaking, I've done so little television. I did Nip Tuck for one season, and then now I've done, Redemption and How to Get Away with Murder, and just, a season here or there. But I haven't done that much compared to did Hemlock Grove for 3 years, but it's such a great way of storytelling now. I really believe that is the future of how people tell stories, because all of a sudden they have 8, 10, 12 episodes to tell, about something that normally would have been told in an hour and a half movie. So you just end up working and acting so much more, and it's a great experience, and the best writers and directors and actors are all turning to that way of storytelling. So I really enjoyed it.
Hello?
Hi there, thanks for coming, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I wanted to know, I like a lot of the roles, but one of my favorites is I was a big Hemlock Grove fan, and I wanted to know about your experiences with Hemlock Grove, because I've watched it like 6 times.
Oh, you have? Well, thank you so much. That's very sweet. That was I played some crazy characters, and she definitely was one of them. I don't know why they keep, it must be typecasting. I don't know.
Lovely lady, playing a lovely lady.
Well, lovely, I don't know, that goes with that character, but thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, first of all, I'm a huge fan, and I'm a huge fan of the X-Men movies. And what has been your favorite part so far about being in the X-Men franchise?
I think it's the fan base. It's just seeing how many people respond to those movies, the characters in it. I love what they're about. I love that they're about people who are different. I love the fact that, these are people who are struggling to be accepted in a society that doesn't accept them because they, act, look, seem different from the other people. And that's something that's, it's what we're dealing with today. It's what we've been dealing with in the past, and hopefully we won't be dealing with it in the future, but that seems to be part of the human race, is unwillingness to accept people for the differences. And so I hope that at least by, just seeing how many people, how many fans movies like this have, that can be part of that acceptance process that the world has to go through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's really awesome to have you next time.
You're also part of the Taken franchise, the Taken movies, and that first movie, it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere and then became this big hit, and now everybody can quote Liam Neeson's speech from his phone call. But when you first kind of got attached to this film, did you see it as, this is just, okay, good role, gonna do this, or did you see sort of the larger potential of it?
No, none of us, nobody knew the larger potential of this. This was really basically a French movie. It was done by Luc Besson as a producer. We had a French director. We shot all of it in Europe, mostly, and it was just not a film that I don't think anybody understood the potential. Also, Liam had not been, he wasn't a superstar at that moment. He was somebody who was known for character parts. I mean, an amazing actor, obviously, with an incredible resume, but not an action hero.
Right.
That's not how he was seen. But I really always personally believed is that 9/11 had a lot to do with the film, because we came out after, and all of a sudden, we're now all living in this world where we're feeling powerless because we've been attacked. There's this big evil happening, and everybody feels powerless. There's nothing they can do. And in comes this character played by Liam Neeson, who is going to fight on his behalf. On behalf of his family, he's going to fight the evils of the world, the people, and he's going to go after them and take revenge. And so somehow I feel that so many people could identify with that character. It empowered them, feeling that somebody was out there fighting on their behalf. So I always felt that maybe there was some correlation between, that and, the timing. It's so much about timing always in life of things. But so I think it was, we came out of Europe before, it, very quietly came out, and then all of a sudden it just kept going and it became this mega hit. And then there were 2 other ones after that and they had to kill me, whatever. They tend to do that with me in movies, I don't know what that is. I die a lot.
No, that's fascinating that it was just sort of a time when we needed this hero family man, you know, to go to bat for us. Yeah, that's interesting. Hello.
My question is more of a two-part question. What do you both enjoy the most and miss the most about working on the X-Men films?
I loved the group of people that I worked with. We had such a great, all the actors, and because we worked for so many movies together, we really formed this family. And not only would we be filming these movies for, about 6 months each, we would also travel the world to promote the films. So in the interim, people had babies, and then by the next time we did a movie, we would meet their new family members and all of it. So we really became a family. So I miss them. I miss having that experience with all of them together. There are big commitments of time, obviously, so you have to sacrifice a lot of your own life to be away from your, family and loved ones when you go on location for that long. So that's the other aspect.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, there was this big merchandising push of toys and tie-ins and everything. Was it a surreal moment where you see that you are now in an action figure form?
They never looked like me. I was always like Melissa Rivers or whatever her name was. I was like, what? Who's this person? That's not me. I don't think I look like. Do I look like that action figure? I don't see that. Maybe you never see yourself the way that other people see you or something.
That's tiny miniature plastic form. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess Xenia Onatopp was an action figure too.
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you.
I really loved watching you in Hansel and Gretel because it looked like you were having way too much fun in that role. So I was wondering if you could tell me about that, especially considering how makeup intensive it sometimes was.
Well, any chance for me to overact and I'm down. I love it. Bring it. It's the only struggle I have with that one is how much or little to act because the makeup did so much for me and I looked so scary that I really worried looking at the, because you see the whole transformation happening as they're doing this makeup job on you and I would look in the mirror going, that's it, I'm done. I'm ugly for the rest of my life, it's never gonna come off. That thing of like the clock strikes 12 or something and that's what you look like thing that I was raised with, at least I can say. So I worried that that was gonna happen and at the end of the night when we finished filming and they would use any kind of stuff, oil to get it off my skin. Oh shoot, I'm still underneath there. But yeah, it was mostly how much do I act? Like what, should I just let the makeup do the acting? That was really which was hard for me because I want to overact anyway. So that was the part that I wasn't 100% sure. And then not tripping over my own outfit or trying to see through these eyeballs with lenses on them. I couldn't see anything. I didn't know what was going on. So, and then being in fight scenes with Jeremy Renner, it was like Mr. Stuntman himself. And they had time to do fight rehearsals while I was sitting in makeup and for hours getting the stuff on. I'm like, okay, you ready? And of course, ready. I'm really, a very athletic person by nature. And then he'd be like, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was challenging. But I only wrote one rip on that movie, so I wasn't that bad.
Was that the most technically challenging project you've been on, or?
Well, yeah, I think it was definitely challenging because of the makeup and the costume and contact, and it took like an army of people to keep me together. And I liked olive oil and they really didn't like it because every bit of oil in your makeup comes off. So every single time they gave me a straw or anything just to try to have me behave like a normal person. And then they would come with their little, brushes and stuff to glue me back together. So it was an interesting experience.
And it's a really intimate relationship with the people that are doing makeup because they're right in your face.
At 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're there and you're there and everybody's in it together.
And they learn who you are at 4 a.m., whether you're a morning person or not, I would imagine.
Yes,
How long did it
definitely.
take to put on the makeup?
4 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
What is your favorite movie that you performed in?
Favorite movie?
Such a good question. I love it. So many that I really enjoyed. I mean, there's a little in. I almost don't want to say it because it's a little a comedy I did with John Favreau. Thank you. That has love and sex. I don't want to say that too loud. Very cute. And I like doing comedy, and I haven't been cast as much as, in comedic parts. Because nobody knows how funny I am, clearly, but, so, yeah. Well, which one is your favorite? Yay, which X-Men? Which one of the X-Men movies? There have been a bunch of them. Do you have one particular one?
The last one.
The last one? I wasn't in that one.
Maybe he meant to say The Last Stand.
That's what he meant.
Yes,
He meant The
that's what
Last
he meant, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But you have done some comedy, and people have seen some of the comedic potential in you. What do you love about working on a comedic set, or on the set of a comedy?
It's just that you have so much more permission to do anything, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's easier, it doesn't mean it's coming from a lighter place. Sometimes it comes from a very dark place. But it just, like I said before, I like to overact, and I think it's sort of a chance to, let go and be goofy and silly and funny.
Or like flex different muscles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Than crying, which I've had to do a ton of.
Is that hard for you to cry?
Sadly, not anymore. Not as much as it should be.
Hello.
Right.
Hello. This is very tall. I just finished Hemlock Grove like 2 days ago, and I watched it because I grew up with you as Jean Grey, and I was like, wait a second, I know that person. Was there any scene in Hemlock that was like too emotionally overwhelming or difficult for you to like do it at first?
Well, there was certainly, at the end of the last episode, there was just too much blood for me. I was really very uncomfortable with it. I mean, I've been in many horror type of, projects with blood and gore and all of it, but I'm really not that comfortable around it. It's just not, those are not the movies that I naturally tend to watch, and so it was a little bit difficult. You saw it. There's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of blood on the walls and everywhere around me and whatever. So that, I think, was the most challenging part.
But you also wrote the screenplay and directed Bringing Up Bobby.
Yes, no blood in that.
No blood in that one, no.
Thank you.
And was that a project where you're like, okay, I want to get this movie made, I want to direct this, and then that kind of scratched the itch of directing, or does that make you kind of want to do more and create more?
Actually, it started a really long time ago, and I'll try to summarize this very quickly, not bore you guys too much, but in the beginning of my career, I struggled, as most people do, but that happens behind the scenes, and I don't think most people are aware of it. It takes sometimes 10 years for people to become, to finally break through in a career. And you don't see that, all of a sudden they pop up, and you're like, oh, there's a new actor or actress or whatever. I was really struggling at the beginning of my career as an actress, and so there was a time where I thought, maybe this is just not meant to happen, this is so hard, let me go and try to pursue other things that I want to pursue, and one of them was writing. And so I wrote a screenplay, I submitted it to a film school in Los Angeles called AFI. I was accepted into the program, and then came the Golden Eye audition. I obviously got the job, and then I thought, going to school, playing, Zenyatta, I'm gonna go play Zenyatta in a Bond movie. And so I abandoned that whole thing, but always in mind going, that would be a great thing to keep doing. And had a few false starts, and then finally with Bringing Up Bobby, I got it together to do it. Wasn't easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It took 3 years of not acting. I had to take you know, because we had so many false starts, and I had Monica Bellucci, and she got pregnant, and she fell out of the project, and had to recast it. And so just all these things happening where I couldn't act, I couldn't make any money, I couldn't do anything, and I really put all that energy and focus into making that little movie. But I certainly have the bug. I mean, it's something that I would love to do more of in the future. It's, you know, getting things off the ground, and especially now, because independent film is not as big as it once was. I really, when I made Bringing Up Bobby, it was already becoming very difficult because of what's happening now with episodic, you know, storytelling, with series on streaming or on cable or network or something. It's just sort of taking over, which is fantastic, but that's very, very difficult to get into as a director, writer, whatever.
And I think we have time just for maybe 2 really, really quick questions.
Make them good, no
so
pressure.
I'm going to start here. Yes, keep
Well,
it
I
moving.
have 3 questions for you.
How many?
3.
You get 1.
Well, it's an honor to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What was I gonna go
Do you want me to come back to you?
at? No, hold on. It's coming out.
Okay. I'll tell you what, let me go to this young person and then I'll come right back to you, okay? You can hang there. Hi.
Considering what Jean Grey had gone through, do you really blame her for leaving the X-Men and running Magneto?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Jean would have done it if Phoenix hadn't overtaken. I think that Jean was so loyal to Professor X and the school that, and Cyclops and everybody, that I don't think she would have. She's just too loyal of a person. I mean, she could have cheated with Wolverine. So there. So no, I think it was just Phoenix taking over, that dark force within her.
Thank you. All right, you're up.
Well, I'm 26 years old, and I was that James Bond movie that you played in, GoldenEye. What do you think of the new generation of James Bond compared to that generation that came up for this generation?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's really amazing. It's been around for so long, that franchise of Bond movies, where I think it's 50 years or something. So I love that they keep reinventing themselves. I mean, this is something that easily could have died along the way, where they would have said, oh, you know, after the first or second Bond didn't, you know, at some point they just moved on and did something else, but it really influenced so many other movies. I mean, you think the Bourne movies and all of that came out of, you know, the Bond genre. So I'm always excited when a new one comes out. It's tongue-in-cheek, Bond is handsome, the women are beautiful, and smart and interesting, and, you know, there are great storylines, and it's, you know, M has become a woman over time, and maybe one day there'll be a female James Bond.
Would you want to do that, John?